This morning we came in, it's the annual IMLCA Coaches Convention. So we're spending today meeting with coaches as they come into the office and talking a little bit about the upcoming season, some bigger topics affecting the sport, and just kind of getting their opinions on things. This is a great day. My favorite things in the world are just talking to people in the game and covering games. Since it's the off season, the next best thing is just having coaches in here and kind of picking their brains about what's going on. As a news guy and a media guy, that's what you live for.
Today's great because we get to interact with people, we get to interact with coaches. You know, everyone's ready to put their best foot forward and get geared up for 2017. If you look at the face-off yearbook, you know, the top 25 teams, probably 20 of them say we want to play faster this year. That's a big part of, you know, what Brown did last year, and, you know, North Carolina winning the championship. They're a team that also plays fast. Our job is to say, well, which teams can actually do it? So we've been asking every coach, you know, what are the tools that you need in order to play fast? So far, interesting thing is you need a good defense.
Questions like early recruiting. There's an NCAA proposal out right now about tightening up the recruiting rules, how that would affect them.
We're trying to cut through some of the coach speak. You know, all the time these guys say, well, we want, you know, guys who come from good families, you know, high character guys. We're taking that a step further and asking them, what do you look at athletically? What do you look at skill-wise? You know, what are the 5 bullet points for a recruit that you want to see? You know, we've had a relationship going back to the magazine's beginnings, you know, with the coaches. You know, they know we treat their stories with respect.
Bob Thompson's, I think he's the best. I think he's the best. And I think, you know, that's not to insult, you know, all the other guys. You just really had no choice a lot of times if you want to score. Unbelievable athletic balance. Unbelievable athletic balance.
Yeah, you know, the first time I played against Paul was at Homewood Field, and Paul right to left down the alley and took this shot and missed. But I remember the ball going by me, and I was a freshman, and I thought to myself, wow, I don't know if I can do this. You know, it was one of those moments where it was welcome to Division I lacrosse. I remember thinking, like, how am I going to tell my coaches to take me out, because I don't know if I can do this.
Casey on game day, you know, was a guy that number one, you couldn't match his intensity. 2, you couldn't match his skill. And 3, you never knew what he was going to do. The greatest yet most heartbreaking play that Casey made was one of the first times I played against him. He had our defender, I forget who it was, just hung up on one side, and as he turned his head, he snuck the other one and just jammed one in. And it may not have been the greatest play he made in his life, I'm sure it wasn't, but for me, it was the one that stood out so much, because that was something we actually thought we prepared for, and he still pulled it off, almost as if he knew what we worked on all week, and he was going to show us that it doesn't matter. It was like Jesse Hubbard used to look at our scouting reports, and we would say, the goalie's really good stick side high. Until he scored a goal, every shot would go stick side high, because his theory was, if I break him down the way you tell me he's great, I got him in every place else, you know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Phenomenal. And I think Casey thought like that.
All right, Inside Lacrosse icons, you're standing next to one of them, the 20th anniversary.
Icon.
He's an icon.
He is an icon. He is. He's the pillar which we all shoot for, and the example which we all want to follow. And he's a great friend to the younger coaches in our sport.
Perfect.
Coaching staff didn't know what to do with him at the time, because he wasn't a great offensive player, so they kind of felt bad for him. So they gave him a pole, and he turned himself into the absolute most feared person on the wings of the face-offs. You can just sense the tension. And Brian started swinging his stick around like he was some warrior. And I remember standing there saying, this is not good. And he just completely took over the game from that point, because he believed he was this ancient warrior at the time, and that's how we played. You know, like Dave Cottle, for one, he says you got to have Brian Spallina in your clubhouse. You got to have him there, because he understands how to win.
I got through 15 coaches today, about half of who we want to get to. We still got 2 more days to go, so really productive first day. We're rolling. One thing we're seeing, a lot of good young talented coaches in this sport. We had plenty of the new first-year coaches come through here today. The early start date, you know, Terry Foley's article about the early start date, and, you know, maybe the move toward a universal start date in lacrosse, it's something people are talking about.